Let's go through the papers now. We're joined by Christopher Biggins and Emily Carver for one last look at your Monday morning newspapers. And Emily, you've chosen the Eye to start with, and I'm really glad you've chosen this because this is the crunch time looming, the 6 months stay, and there was a budget allocated to families that were hosting refugees. What happens after this 6 months is up?
Yeah, so this is very interesting because, of course, the refugee scheme was at the top of the agenda for weeks a few months ago, and it's already the 6 month stay limit is looming. So people were told who took in refugees that after 6 months, they only had to commit to 6 months. So essentially, there may be, among those refugees, there may be some who've managed to find jobs and managed to create a life here. There will be some that have gone home or gone elsewhere. But there will be some that are in a difficult situation. They may become homeless. They may have fallen out with the family that they were staying with for whatever reason, differences of lifestyle. A lot of these people who have come over from Ukraine are obviously suffering from depression, PTSD, from all the trauma that they've gone through having to leave home so quickly. So essentially, it falls on the councils to find money to put these people up if they're what's the word? What do you call the families that look after them? The host families, if they can no longer keep them. So it's crunch time, according to the Eye, and I guess I don't know what proportion of these people will have essentially nowhere to go now.
So I assume councillors are saying, look, we need to find homes for these people. Have you got any money?
Well,
that's what they're asking.
Well, exactly. The councils will need more money. The government's saying that councils have a duty to ensure families are not left without a roof over their head. I don't have what the councils have said in response, but I imagine that's what they're saying. Well, give us some money then.
Yeah.
Well, anecdotally, I've heard through friends who've hosted a family and have had this sort of situation whereby, it's terrible to quote this example, but the Ukrainian was of Chechen origin and perhaps wasn't, naturally what you assumed was going to be a sort of grateful recipient of hospitality. They were more sort of, yes, there were controversies in all of that. And they went to the council and they said, well, what do we do? And the council said, oh, well, I'm afraid there's a waiting list, 5 years. If you want housing in the UK, you have to wait alongside British people as well. Or you go into the accommodation that's being provided for asylum seekers, which they also didn't want to go into.
So they've had people in their home who they can't stand. They don't get on with at all. So what have they done? Just had...
Well, I think they've had a neighbour who was already hosting another family have taken in another.
Wow.
But I mean, there are stories like this to be dug up, I think, and I think as the 6 months comes to an end, I think it's something we're going to hear more
Yeah,
about.
definitely.
It's a very tricky situation, isn't it? You take the responsibility of taking a family and then you don't get on. It must be a nightmare.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then the other stories, of course, it's a wonderful situation.
Yeah.
But that's life, isn't it?
Yeah.
The reality of these things isn't always what you thought they were going to be.
Yeah, it is a difficult one. Christopher, you're an Archers fan, right?
Well, I am an Archers fan, and I was. I'm not going to name any names because they're lovely people, but two of your researchers had no idea what I was talking about.
To be fair, I know the programme. I couldn't name anyone who's ever been in it. I don't know.
Well, it is a classic. I mean, it is an institution.
Yes.
Anyway, enough of that. The Queen of Ambridge. I thought this was funny enough, an article about our Queen, because she looks not dissimilar on the front page of the Telegraph.
Yeah.
And she's the Queen of Ambridge, and she signs off. She's leaving the show at 103 years old.
Yeah.
She's been in it for 71 years. Her name is June Spencer, and she plays Peggy Woolley. And it's fantastic that she's had this job for that long. I mean, it's wonderful.
Have you ever been on The Archers?
No, I wouldn't.
Not even a cameo.
No, did I do a cameo? No, I don't think I have. I would love to do a cameo. I think it's a wonderful series.
Yeah.
I mean, it's absolutely brilliant. And it's a classic.
Yeah.
Everybody, I mean, people absolutely, if they can't listen to it at the time, they record it, I mean, it's one of those sort of shows. I mean,
Has it gone a bit woke? Some people saying it's gone turn.
I haven't listened to it recently, but that would be awful if it has gone woke. But anyway,
It probably has.
It probably has. Yes, you're right.
Yeah, but still working at 103. I mean, that
A
is
bit much, isn't it?
whatever you do, whatever you listen to, whether you know the Archers or not.
Yeah.
Maximum respect to June Spencer.
Yes, I think the Queen should give her an honour.
Yeah. Indeed.
I'm always so glad that Christopher is here because I never know these references to these shows. I've never watched it. No.
You can't watch
I'm
it.
like the
on
researchers.
Radio. Number one, it's on the radio. So you can't watch it. At the first hurdle there. It's on
I always end up having a blonde moment on breakfast.
Oh, brilliant. Moving swiftly on, back into your comfort zone, Emily. Advanced wages, talking about fiscal matters. Page 34 of the Times.
Yes, so I've done this before. I think with my Monzo account, which is one of these digital-only banks, you can get your pay, your salary, you can just ask for it the day before. But I think there are services that actually allow you to get your pay more in advance of that. And the idea is that you could essentially budget a little more by having your pay come through these digital accounts, maybe weekly or bi-weekly, because the difficulty is if it's just getting it a few days early, it still has to last the same amount of time. So you're not really getting any benefit. But I think there are services available for people. For example, one is called Revolut, which is an online bank where you can get your advance payments.
We're going to take a pause.
Oh, sorry.
Brandon Lewis is standing by, but we will come back to you if we have time after this interview. Thank you for now, Emily and Christopher Biggins.